We know fraudsters are getting more creative, so we're going to talk about a really disturbing scam on the rise right now. They call it a border scam. It really shakes people up. So today we're welcoming back Deb Mathern. She's a volunteer with AARP North Dakota. Welcome, Deb.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Good morning. Deb, can you tell us what exactly is a border scam?
People call and say that they are an agent with the Customs Border Protection. You might see the initials CBP, and that's what that stands for. So the imposters pose as agents. They maybe leave a message or call and say that they intercepted illegal items and that you were shipping it or receiving it. So a lot of people might think that they're a mule for someone unwittingly, and that there's a warrant out for their arrest. They use terms that we're unfamiliar with, like diplomatic pouch. In May of 2022 alone, there were 3 reported incidents in North Dakota by people in their 70s calling the Consumer Protection Bureau at the North Dakota Attorney General's office. So I'm going to say, please don't be afraid to report. That's how our AG's office knows what's out there and can make people aware.
Well, that's an important point you make, Deb, because that's 3 people that contacted the Consumer Protection Bureau, but there's probably a lot of other people who did not,
Yes.
maybe went along with this. So that just so we're aware, what kind of payments do these folks usually request?
Well, they usually demand cryptocurrency, which, if you're dealing with elderly people, we don't always know what that is. But gift cards is a big one. Wire transfers, they ask for bank account information, social security numbers, maybe credit card information or debit card information too, so they can debit your account and clean it out.
Well, the scam seems a little complicated, and maybe to some people who aren't familiar with these terms, far-fetched. So what makes it seem like it's legitimate to the person that's being targeted?
Well, they use real credentials and many times a badge number or titles. We grew up in an era where titles were important and make you seem legit. Or they might text photos of the arrest records or arrest warrant. And, it can be very scary for people. It seems very real.
I can see how they're kind of creating an environment of intimidation. So what should we look for to protect ourselves from this particular scam?
Okay, one of the things, remember, our government agency is never going to call or text or email you for information, and your bank will not either. They've got that information. Caller ID can be faked. We see it every day on our phones. They call it spoofing, and you think, oh, it's a local number I'll pick up, or so just be careful in when you're answering those phone calls, and just really put your smart thinking cap on.
Well, of course, we always want to stay vigilant. So, Deb, what are some resources if we want to get more information on this, or if we think we've been scammed, if we want to start reporting that?
There are some places, AARP Fraud Watch Network Helpline, 877-908-3360 is that number, and also the AARP.org Fraud Watch Network, I'm sorry. But that CBP isn't going to call with promises or threats. If somebody calls and asks you to pay a fee or share your social security number, your bank info, it's a scam. Always don't trust your gut feeling. Don't deny your instincts. I think people are starting to do that more, and that's a downfall for us. So sometimes we know in our gut that this just doesn't feel right. So if it doesn't, hang up.
I think that's one of the biggest things we've learned from AARP is if somebody's reaching out to you, asking you for something, ask questions, because a lot of times it's not what it seems to be, basically. All right, Deb, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you every time you come on, and for kind of enlightening us to these things that are coming down the pipeline, and hopefully we can avoid ourselves.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, stay with us. We have a lot more North Dakota Today coming up right after the break.